Welcome to the Make Me Better podcast. Hey, everybody, I'm Misty Rooks, and this is the Make Me Better podcast. Today, I'm chatting with Crystal Tipton and Kristina Miles, co hosts of the Lemonade podcast from Chattanooga, Tennessee. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. I love your podcast so much that I wore my lemon shirt today. This fall. So, tell me a little bit about how you guys got started with your podcast, because I know you're new and I'm new. And when I saw my friend share it on Facebook, I was like, this looks so good. I got to listen to it. And so I've been listening to you ladies, and I have been really enjoying it, your real conversations, and how, it sounds like you guys are real, true, and faithful followers of Jesus, and actually live that life, and don't just speak it, but you actually live it. So anyway, go ahead and tell us how you guys got started on your podcast.
You want to start? You want me to start? You can go for it. Um, well, we have been thinking about ways to help other people. A lot of times you feel like you may be the only person going through a bad situation. And so you want to share that you were going through a bad experience and how you've gotten through it to help other people.
Yeah.
And so it had been really heavy on my heart about just trying to help other people. I've had a lot going on medically with my daughter, and I was just thinking, I know I'm not the only person that feels this way.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone goes through stuff. And is there a way that we can help other people get through it? And I was going to meet Kristina for lunch one day, and literally Forrest Frank was on, and the new Lemonade song came on. And I was thinking that would be the cutest name for a podcast. And so when I got to the restaurant to meet her, we just started talking about it. And she was completely on board when I was like, hey, I was thinking that we could do a podcast together to help other people. And she was like, I would love to do that.
I was like, I love it. Because, you can meet and have therapy sessions together. But if you talk it out, then you can help somebody else. And we're like, why not try it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
that's kind of how it started. And when we were talking about the Lemonade song, we were like, we don't want it to just be lemonade, like the lemonade you drink.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be life gives you lemons, and you need to reach out to Jesus to aid your heart and soul for all the lemons that life gives you.
Yeah.
So that's why we did lemon and then the hyphen
Spelled a little bit.
AID to aid your heart and soul.
I caught on to that. So I bet other people did too. Yeah. So how long did it take you then, once you had that idea? How long did it take you to get started?
Couple weeks.
I think a couple weeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Her husband had a lot of the setup already, so which was very helpful.
Yeah.
So we were like, hey, this is our idea. And he was all for it. So he helped us. And so we were like, sweet.
Yes.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. When things fall into place that God has put it together.
For
You know,
sure.
not that you won't face some obstacles or pressure, but you can tell when He is orchestrating things and putting that together. So tell us a little bit about you, your personal story. Whoever wants to go first, just sort of, how did you get where you are today? And then that will lead us to the end of the show, when we're gonna, all my guests answer the same question. How did going through this make you better? So kind of just a little recap of, where did your faith come from, and who did you used to be, and who are you now, sort of.
Okay. I'll go ahead and go first. So I've always been raised in the church. we used to go every Sunday. That's actually how her and I met. Was we went to church together to begin with. But then, life gets busy. You don't always go every Sunday. You might miss you might miss some, but that's okay. Like you're still trying. But my parents were actually the youth directors at our church too. So that helped, shape, build, like I'd bring all my friends, like let's go to church or whatever. But then I guess college, that age, you kind of like, well, I'm doing my own thing. I got my own life, you just whatever. And I kind of didn't, I went to church, but I didn't go as regularly. And I was just kind of like, well, it's fine. You don't have to go to church every day or every Sunday. And it's fine. But I just kind of steered clear of, because I had plans. I was a busy girl, like, which is easier said than done. But I went through a tough relationship, tough breakup. I was absolutely distraught, and I was like, I spent several years dwelling
Yeah.
and upset and didn't understand it, didn't, was just, I would vent to her so many times. She heard it all. And I was just like, what does this mean? Or, like, why does this happen? Or, and then I was like, one day I was like, why am I worried about it? Literally, like, I can just let go and let God. And if it works out, it works out. I think I was single for what, 5 or 6 years?
Yeah, I think so.
If that. And then I found my husband. What? Perfect timing. He came out of nowhere. Like they always say, you stop and trust God and you let Him
Mhm.
work in your life, then He'll show you. And I always prayed, like, show me sign. Am I going in the right direction? Am I following you to how I'm supposed to be?
Yeah.
Like, because you
Yeah.
always feel like, well, am I doing the right thing? Or am I, what could I be doing different or better or whatever? But I did. And then,
Found better.
yeah, I found better.
Yeah,
So,
some of the greatest advice, I didn't really get it from a person, I read it in a book, but it was talking about how when you are single, that you need to enjoy that time and spend that time working on yourself, and so instead of just looking for the one, work on becoming the one.
yeah. And I think that's what I did too. And I was just like, I need to worry about myself, do what I want, do what I enjoy. And I let that bother me way more than it should have. But, you're at that age, you're like, I'm upset, but
Yes.
You're
I
gonna
can
get
identify with that.
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And at that age, you think you know what you want, and you don't. Like you thank goodness it didn't work out the way I
Mhm.
wanted it to, because
Definitely.
I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah.
But at the time, it's hard to see that. But you got to trust the process.
Certainly. Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Crystal, how about you?
Mine was mainly over my daughter. Last May in 2024, she was diagnosed with a very rare autoimmune disease, JDM, which is juvenile dermatomyositis. And it's so rare that 3 out of 1 million kids are diagnosed a year. So, I remember like when we first got the diagnosis, like my friend is a dermatologist. So I went to her, probably had some places that came up on her hands and they weren't getting better or going away. So I was thinking, well, let's just go see my friend Ashley and see what she has to say about it. So she did some skin biopsies. And when she first seen it up close and under like a microscope, she's like, okay, it looks like a very rare disease, but I have like 2 patients in my practice that are in their 60s that have it. It's very rare for kids to have. And so she's like, I don't want to scare you, but I'm going to send it off and I'll know by the end of this week what we're dealing with. So
Mm.
I was just thinking, okay, I am scared about that. I'm Googling everything, looking it up and seeing how rare it is and thinking, okay, it's probably not it, but we'll see. So she called me probably 4 or 5 days later and she was like, okay, can you talk? I'm like, absolutely. And she said, well, the biopsy came back and it's 99% positive for juvenile dermatomyositis. And I just remember I was on the back porch and just feeling crushed. And I remember like just crying and being so worried because, had such fear over that because I'd looked it up and seen how rare and the treatments and how scary. And, I was just like, oh my goodness. So, anyways, another week or so went by and she was getting us set up to go to Vanderbilt to see a pediatric rheumatologist. And during that time, I think one of Riley's friends that she's been friends with since kindergarten. Her mom had texted me just out of the blue and was talking to me. And I had told her, I was like, we just found out Riley has a rare autoimmune disease. And her mom sent back and she was like, well, what's it called? So I told her and she said, you're kidding me, right? I'm like, no. And she's like, that is exactly what her daughter has as well. And I was like, I knew that her daughter had autoimmune disease, and I never like really asked or got too involved with it just because I didn't want to, if she did want to talk about it. So crazy. So one of Riley's, she has 6 really good friends. So another girl in her friend group has the exact same thing.
How odd is that?
It's wild. So they really helped us through the process of getting started and coming with us to the appointments and all that stuff. And that really helped Briley, and I know her mom told me several times, she's like, I know that we went through this to help you guys, and just thinking, I just thought that was amazing that she took that in to think, we endured this heartache, this hard time, so we could help you guys. Yeah, when you think about that, the things we do go through is to help somebody someday, to be able to turn around and share that to show how God's brought you through it.
Absolutely. Scripture tells us that too,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
The things that we endure and the things that God has brought us through and
Yes.
out of, that gives us the, like, power and authority to be able to help the next person through
Yeah.
that.
Yes, it does. It really
And we even
does.
talked about that on one of our podcasts. We're like, there's a reason, something's going to be, there's a lesson
Yeah.
to have, like there's a reason maybe somebody could see that and go get tested because they don't know what it is and it helps them. Or,
Exactly.
like there's so many ways that you can help somebody, not just through the word, but through your experiences.
Yeah, you could see it. It could be on a flip side of like a positive side of it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not make it any easier,
No,
but
and we're still going through it. And she's does infusions every month and takes a lot of medicine every day. But we've seen such improvement that we are very hopeful that she will be in remission sooner rather than later. So, and it's all God, and
Yeah.
that was, we talked about that was why we wanted to start a podcast and just share those experiences and that God is with you through it. And you really have to just lean on Him.
Mhm.
especially with everything going, in this world,
Yeah.
it's like we need more of that. And we didn't know another way to try to get it out there as much as
Uh-huh.
to just do this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that just having, Riley's friend helped her, but also the mom to just kinda sit with you in it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
knowing that she knew exactly how you felt when you got that phone call and you were crushed, knowing that you're not the only person that had to endure this and that every day isn't gonna be like this, you know, that time will go on, things will get better, the shock of it will go away. She's gonna feel better, it's not every day is not gonna be like this, but somebody who maybe doesn't have any advice, or even though they helped you with your appointments or whatever, just to kinda sit with you and like, "You know what? You can be sad, and I'll sit beside you and be sad too, because I know
Yes.
how it is." It's
Yeah.
important.
It is important. And to know that they've also went through it. And, she was in remission, her friend, when we found out. She's had some hiccups since, but she's still not having to go through and have like infusions anymore. And hopefully she doesn't have to. But just for us to have feedback with each other. And I mean, now she'll
Yeah.
even send me messages like, "Hey, do you think this looks okay? With her skin."
Yeah.
Or it's been such a help. And to know that, you're in it with somebody that's also has their child going through it too.
Mhm.
It it makes it easier.
Yeah. And how nice is it that you 2, that God orchestrated this? And I know some people would say, "Well, if God did it, why didn't he just heal both of those girls?" Well, we don't know the answer to that, but I was thinking today that sometimes your miracle comes in a different package than you think that it should look like. But who would I be to turn away a gift from the King of Glory? Whatever it looks like, I will receive it, and if that is I'd rather have him heal me, but it's not happening, but he gave me a friend that has been through the same thing, who can hold my hand and I can lean on their shoulder, then that's also a gift. That's also a miracle.
It really is.
Because if you didn't have that, I mean,
Ugh, I've been
it would just add extra, just,
stress
yeah.
and worry, and she's been so good to say, "Hey, you need to ask them this, and when you look at the lab work, you need to check these levels specifically." I mean, she's seriously, it was a godsend.
Yeah, and it's a comfort,
Yeah.
Yes,
such a comfort.
it is. For
Um,
trips they went with her to the appointments and stuff. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's totally awesome. Well, I am so excited about what is to come with the Lemonade podcast. I'm going to keep listening to you guys. I want to let everybody know too that you can find the Lemonade podcast on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And we are going to link all that for you in the description. But we're coming to the end of the show when I ask everybody, how did going through this make you better? So, Christina, I know how hard it is to be single, like in your 20s, and all your friends are getting married and having babies. I know I've been through that. So, what is your take on it? Once you met your husband and you guys got married, and now you realize this beautiful life that you have today wouldn't have happened if you weren't made to wait, if you didn't have that bad breakup. And so how did going through that make you better?
It was like, I didn't have a single friend that didn't have a baby or was married or, or both. So I was like, when is it going to be my time, And then when found why her husband introduced us, actually was of all the things, she had known him for years and years, and I had known her for years and years. And then when the time was right,
Right.
they I guess he just randomly thought about it
yeah,
and just introduced us, and I was like, "I don't know about that," But just because I didn't know anything about him,
yeah.
but I was like, "They're good people, they know." And so we met, and then I was like, "Yep." Like, I think we knew pretty early on that we were made for each other. You know what I mean? Like, you just know. Like,
Mhm.
there's that peace and how they treat you and like everything. You just and then I prayed about it. I'm like, if this is not how you know it should go, or show me signs of what I can do better, or you know anything. Like, just tell me, like, show me how to be. And Wyatt is literally the sweetest man alive.
He is.
Yeah, and God was showing me right there, like, just open your eyes. But yeah, it's
Appreciate.
yeah.
I think.
No, like, yeah, appreciate it for sure, and you don't take it for granted. Like, you just now looking back, I'm like, none of that even mattered. Well, how let that bother me, or why did I think I had to control that situation, or to make my own path? Because I knew what I was gonna do. And I'm like,
Yes.
no, if you just trust that God's gonna take care of it, He already has a plan for you.
He's
And I
got it.
did. I finally listened, and I was rewarded.
Well, Crystal, how about after walking through this sort of medical crisis with your daughter, how do you think you're a different person or different mom? Maybe? How did going through that make you better?
I think going through this has made me better by just trusting God more. You know, um, it's easier for me to, I mean, I'm still anxious or nervous about a lot of the treatments or different things going on with her, but it's let me step back more and just think, okay, God is in control and He is going to take care of my child. He gave her to me and He has her best interests and she's going to be okay. No matter what the circumstances are, He's with us. And that's just given me such a peace just to feel that and know that no matter what we are walking through, He's with us always and He's not going to leave us.
And she knows that too, which is helpful.
She,
Like, she's very
so that has taught me just to trust God, trust the process, and hang in there.
Right. Right. So she's learning at a young age then, you know, really how to trust in God, watching her mom, I'm sure her dad do the same thing, and kinda like, she gets to see her parents handling this too, it's happening to her. She may not realize now how you guys feel about it till she has her own kids one day, but she's learning, how to handle things, and we hear the Bible stories growing up. We can quote scripture, but until you have to actually walk through something yourself,
Yeah.
you don't learn firsthand what some of these scriptures mean, and they mean a lot more to you once you have been through that.
And you have to go back and rely on it and look at it and think, okay, He's got a plan.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. Thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you for sharing your hearts and your personal stories with me today. Everybody, check them out as the Lemonade Podcast on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And God bless you guys. And thank you so much for joining us today for the Make Me Better podcast.